My gay crush kidnapped me and tied me to the bed for a crazy night. I'm Mark, a 22-year-old college student with a secret. I'm having dinner with my family and Paul. Paul is my brother's boyfriend. We studied together at a university. My parents made me and my brother promise that we have to have one dinner a month together, so we're having a nice dinner with family. There is a little secret. Despite the ordinary facade of my life, I have a deep forbidden crush on someone very close to me, my brother's boyfriend Paul. No shit. My inner self taunted. You look at him the way you are in love, like so deep. So anyway, he is my brother's boyfriend. Nothing can be done. I really need to stop staring at him and just eat my dinner and sleep. So how's college going? My mom asked me while taking a bite from her dish. It's going well, I replied. I take a sip of wine. That's nice to hear, she tells me and turns to my brother. What about you guys? Any new plans for the little holiday? No, just staying home. Brian replies, lost in his phone, not paying attention to dinner or him. Mom knows it, but doesn't say anything and lets him be. So, Paul, how are your parents? He asks Paul. They're doing great, thanks for asking. He smiles and replies. He's just amazing, you know. His style's so effortlessly classy. He's got an old school charm. White shirt and brown pants. It sounds plain, but on him, it's like a fashion statement. Plus, he's got his vintage watch. Nothing flashy, just simple and cool. And his hair? Oh my, it's like running your fingers through a soft dark cloud. I wish I could feel that, just once. Those green eyes of his, they're like a window to his soul, kinda welcoming. His skin is smooth. But it's not just about his looks. When he talks, it's like a warm hug for your heart. He's all heart, you know? My brother, well, he's a bit of a tough nut. But this guy, he's like a gentle breeze on a hot day. My brother loves him too, in his own way. I hope. It's just different. This guy, he's pure kindness, no strings attached. It's something special. Me and my brother don't talk too much. I like him, but if I had to choose, I wouldn't choose him as my big brother. He is great and all, but he's never there for me when I was going through something. He always acted like I was no one to him. Like I said, he is cold-hearted to his own family, too. So, how's your book writing going? Brain asks out of nowhere. He knows that I'm going through a stuck writing period. I don't even know if it's a thing. I clear my thoughts in the process of thinking of an answer. I've just been working, you know. I reply without sounding nervous. He laughs and says, been busy working at a café, he taunts. I don't react. You should find a real job. Takes it further. At this point, I wish that he goes back to looking at his phone and not saying anything. Working at a cafe is a real job, Paul defends me. Not that I need it, but it still feels good. Stop bothering your brother. He's trying, Dad interrupts with his gentle tone. Yeah, whatever, he mutters, and thankfully the conversation takes a pause, and we all move to our room. I'm lost in thoughts about what he said about my career. Looking at the situation, I don't have right now, but I will make it. It's a long way of life. I read my half-reached book and think of what it should write to complete the story, and I can't think of anything. I close it and sleep. The next day we leave for the city. Me and my brother and I live in the same apartment. That place is closer to my college and his office. Paul lives in a different area. He sometimes crashes here for the weekend. Can you drop me at the cafe? I say to my brother. Aren't you working on Sunday too? Instead of saying yes, he shoots another question. Extra shift, I give him a short explanation. He stops the car in front of the cafe. Thanks, I say, and leave. How long is your shift? He asks me. God, 2 to 3 hours, I tell him. You want to get a coffee? He asks Paul. Why not? He says, and they both leave the car. I roll my eyes, make an annoying sound, and head towards Get. They had their first date here at the Cozy Bean Cafe where I work. The Cozy Bean Cafe is my favorite place to unwind. When I walk in, it feels like a warm hug. The inside has a comfy rustic vibe with brick walls and local art. Soft lights make it feel even cozier. The smell of freshly brewed coffee is heavenly. It gives me time to think about my book, and I like working here. When I walk to the counter and place their usual order, it's good that he pays, you know. Ouch, Ashley says, raising her eyebrow. She knows that I have a crush on Paul, even before he became Brian's boyfriend. Don't even ask, I made a face. He raises her hand in surrender and asks, that bad? I prepare their order. Paul drinks bubble coffee, and Brian drinks black coffee. I hand Ashley the tray and tell her to give it to them. She refuses first, but then gives in to the face that I make. Ashley is my close friend. After enduring their holding hand for 2 hours and a little bit of kissing, stop staring, it's rude, Ashley elbows me. I'm not, still looking at him. She hits my face with a menu. How? What the hell? saving my friend, she whispers. With that, I end my shift and hope to ever become his boyfriend. We drop Paul off first and then go home. I kept my feelings for Paul hidden deep inside, never daring to let them surface. After all, he was my brother's boyfriend, and I respected their relationship. But there was always that flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, circumstances might change. Brain went to his office, and I to university. After finishing my lecture, I went to a cafe. I hoped to go home early, but the customers just kept coming despite the fact that it's a Monday, so I'm working late. I leave the cafe at 2 a.m. in the morning, feel tired, and just want to sleep on my nice, soft, and heavenly bed. The cafe is a 20-minute walk from my home, but today that feels like 20 miles. With my slow and tired walking, I reached off after an hour, but I'm in shock at what happens as soon as I open the door. I turn the doorknob and someone puts a mask on my face and ties my mouth before I can scream. He drags me to the elevator. It is nighttime and I don't think anyone has noticed us, and I have no idea where that person is taking me. I'm scared, but I have these strange feelings that I'm in good hands. I don't know. You have just been kidnapped and you feel safe. My inner self shouted and I tried to laugh because I feel what I feel. I hear the car engine roar. He tied my hand. His car doesn't feel like a van. The seat cover is soft, and the fact that I'm in the front seat and care enough for my seatbelt, I have no idea where he or she is taking me. I can see the streetlight is passing as he speeds up to whatever he is taking me. After a few minutes, we stop and he helps me get out of the car. I breathe in and the smell is so similar. For a second I thought that he is... But how? And why would he do that? Then I realized he had kidnapped the wrong person. Oh God, this is supposed to be my brother. Shit. I want to tell him, but for some reason my voice refuses to cooperate. Yet oddly, I find solace in this silence. Though I think it's crucial that he pays attention to this. Currently, we're in his apartment, and the atmosphere is suffused with delightful fragrance of scented candles, a scent that he cherishes. The room is alive with the mellowness of old retro tunes, emanating softly from the speakers. His touch is electrifying as he gently releases my hands from their restraints. He steps in closer, his breath warm against my ear, and in that deep husky voice of his, he utters words that send shivers racing down my spine, electrifying my entire being. I'm still blindfolded, but he removes the cover from my mouth. Take a deep breath. He takes my hand and guides me to what feels like a bedroom. He pushes me and I land on a mattress. Before I can say anything, he ties my hand to the bed. I can smell him. This blindfold makes his every move a surprise, and it makes me want to just sink in. I can freely speak, but somehow I find myself in silence and enjoying all this, and I wonder how long until he realizes that I'm not his boyfriend. This is so wrong in so many ways. But then again, I refuse to clear this misunderstanding. I tried, but now I feel good and happy. I can feel his hands on my hair, digging through my skull, his other hand on my waist, holding me together. I feel safe. I can feel his breath on my lips, on my cheek, on my face. Oh my God. He's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Then his lips play with mine. He doesn't kiss me, but teases me, wanting me to beg for just one kiss. And I did one thing I always wanted to do. I ran my fingers through his silky hair. His hair is so smooth and soft, I could just run my fingers all day. Then he finally kisses me. Things really heated up as our lips locked in a passionate embrace. The intensity of the moment made it clear that this was more than just a sweet kiss. It was a fiery mixture of desire and lust, leaving us both craving for more. I hear his phone ringing. He gets up to look at it, and realizes that he knows what he has done. He unties me from the bed and takes my blindfolds off, and the room is light red and filled with roses and candles. And I think he really wanted to do this with my brother, and I might have interrupted that. Truly sorry. I had absolutely no idea it was you, he apologizes, his voice filled with remorse. It's okay, I reassure him, though deep down I'm anything but okay. This is something I've earned, and now that it's finally happening, it feels like it's slipping through my fingers in an instant. It's just not fair. I'm frustrated with myself for not preventing it. No, really, I'm sorry, he insists, his brow furrowed in worry. It's alright, I responded, trying to ease the tension. You know, I just wanted this to go perfectly, he admits, his face etched with concern. I'm sorry, I apologize again, recognizing my part in this less than ideal situation. Why are you sorry? I'm the one who kidnapped you, he points out, his voice tinged with guilt. Are you alright? I ask, noticing the deep worry in his eyes. Nothing is alright between us, you know. He sits beside me on the bed and says, He's just, brain, he adds. I make a tense face and he looks at me and continues. As the day goes by, it feels like I'm losing him. There's a growing distance between us. We were so good together, you know? I'm not sure what changed, but he just stopped trying. He used to do so many thoughtful things for me, but now we're like an old married couple who can't stand each other. When we're on the brink of an argument, he just ignores me. I thought talking about it might help, he says, glancing around the room and letting out a sigh. Well, he can be like that sometimes, I try to counsel him. Yeah, well, I'm just getting tired of me holding on to our relationship, he confesses. I know you're his brother, but it's okay, I tell him. I let myself fall on the mattress and he smiles and says, Come on, I'll drop you, but I'm already feeling tired. So I make a tired sound and ask him if I could just crash here, and we can both go to college together. To my surprise, he agreed. He slops beside me again, and I find myself staring at him instead of sleeping. Please don't tell your brother about this, he says, sounding sleepy. I hold his hand, my way of saying yes rather than letting it go. He holds it tighter and comes closer to me, with his eyes closed, and whispers, Thank you. And I spent all night looking at his face and thinking about the moment we shared together. Hey, sleepyhead, wake up, I hear Paul's voice, and for a moment it feels like a nice dream. But then the memories of last night flood back, and I realize I'm in his house, in his bed. Oh no. I open my eyes, and there he is, sitting in the corner of the bed, already dressed and ready to go. What time is it? I mumble, still half asleep. It's 10, and we're running late, he informs me. Oh, what? I panic for a moment, frantically searching for my phone, only to realize it's just 9 in the morning. You got me there, didn't you? I say with a sheepish grin. Well, yeah, he chuckles. I swing my legs out of bed and make my way towards the bathroom. Here's some clothes that should fit you, he points at the table and adds, Be quick, breakfast is ready. I nod and step into the cold shower. Afterwards, I look at the clothes he's laid out for me. There's a pair of custom-made charcoal gray trousers paired with a crisp pale blue dress shirt. A navy blazer with a fine pinstripe pattern hangs nearby. The color combination exudes an air of sophistication, an old-world charm. It is good that the clothes fit perfectly. Well, the shirt's a little loose, but it hides behind the blazer, so it's okay. It's a good thing that I have a presentation today. We eat breakfast and then head to the university. Good luck with your presentation, he wishes me. Thanks, I say, and head to my classroom. But I couldn't stop thinking about the night. That kiss. His body against mine felt so right. I shake my head and focus on my presentation. When I leave the class, I see Brain and Paul talking, and I decide to say hi. As I come closer, I hear them talking about last night. Something like, Why didn't you pick up my calls? As I manage to mumble a hesitant hi, I could feel the tension in the room escalate rapidly. Paul, the one who had turned out to be my secret crush, responded with a polite but somewhat forced greeting. On the other hand, my brother's reaction was markedly different. He avoided making eye contact with me, his irritation evident in his body language. You're like everywhere, Brain mumbles. What? I ask in confusion. He knows, Paul confesses. I'm sorry, Brain. I had no idea. I thought I got kidnapped, I lied. Well, it's half, I'm sure, he taunts me. Just give us a minute, Paul requests, and I leave both of them to their stupid conversation. I just don't want to talk about what happens, but all I could think about is that I tried to focus on my work, but couldn't. Ashley's concerned expression deepened as she asked, Something wrong? I blurted out, Paul and I kissed without giving it any thought. Ashley's eyes widened in shock. What? She exclaimed, slapping my hand in disbelief. Well, it was a big misunderstanding. I explained everything to her. That is messed up. But, she says in a long way like she's about to say something stupid. I roll my eyes and ask, What? Did you like it? She jumps on her feet and asks. Oh God, it felt like I was on top of the world. I never felt that way, I say, getting all emotional. Ow, that's because you're so in love with him. You're in love, Mike? Paul asks out of nowhere. I turn around and he is standing all-looking gentleman. Someone in college, Ashley answered for me. I am just in shock that he might have heard the whole conversation. I zoned out for a bit. He orders as usual and sits in the corner cafe. He looks tense to me. I walk to him and give him company. Everything all right? I ask him in concern. Nothing, just usual drama. He makes it sound like it's okay, but he is in pain. I can see it in his eyes. After that, we talked about a lot of things. We sat there for like an hour after hour. We laughed about lots of things. We talked, really. He told me he wants to break up, but he is hesitating to do that. He encouraged me to write and promised that he will be the first and buy it if it ever makes it to publishing. Then we talked about what we wanted to do, and I finally got to know why he is obsessed with his clothes. He gets it from his father and wants to make a career in business. His dad owns a marketing company and he's the one to take after his father. His father is his inspiration. He adores his father. And after that, we met at the university, and it was like we spent the whole day together. A few days ago, he told me he broke up with Brain. I tried talking to him, but he wouldn't. He seems fine on the outside, but I know what he feels. How are you holding up? I asked my brother. Worry about yourself, he barked. I'm just asking as your brother, I told him. Whatever, he snapped at me. What is your problem? I asked him, growing frustrated. You. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I demanded to know. Nothing. Just eat your damn dinner, he muttered, clearly not in the mood for conversation. After that, I didn't try to talk to him. Paul told me that it all started with that night, and all the things that he had tried to avoid came up. Brain is the one to say the let's over thing. I can't say if he's hurting himself or others. The next day, I met up with Paul. I think he's winning the breakup. He feels free, as if he was trapped, and he is enjoying this. And in excitement, I told him that I had a crush on him. You what? He stops dancing and looks at me with wide eyes. Nothing. I try to take back what I said. I hope that he forgets. He looks drunk enough to forget what I said. Ow, you have a crush on me, he says, and he kisses me. The next thing I knew, we were in his apartment, sharing passionate kisses. It felt amazing to be close to him again, like a spark had been reignited. We both wanted a date, but it felt a bit strange given this recent breakup with my brother. So for the time being, we settled on hanging out at his place, watching Netflix, and just enjoying each other's company. As time passed, he seemed to become more comfortable around me, and I found myself liking him more and more. One evening, we were watching a movie, and I couldn't help but get distracted by his devilish grin. I just can't believe he would do that, he says, trying to participate in our conversation about the movie. He raised an eyebrow, clearly catching on that I wasn't paying much attention. Yeah, you're right, I responded, trying to sound engaged. He chuckled and asked, Oh, really? Then tell me, what the hell did he do? I took a guess, trying to get back on track. He killed someone? He burst into laughter. It's very funny, he said, shaking his head, clearly amused by my lack of focus. I leaned in and placed a gentle kiss on his forehead. In response, he cupped my face and kissed me passionately, as if his heart overflowed with love. I think I'm falling for you, he whispered against my lips. I couldn't help but chuckle and said, no shit, before kissing him back, a smile playing on my lips. He murmured, What's so funny? Nothing, I replied, gazing into his light green eyes. Just the fact that I'm in love. He playfully made a gesture with his finger, indicating how close he was to that feeling, and we both burst into laughter. That's how I spent my night and day, utterly in love and on cloud nine. This was finally happening. I was about to date my crush, the one and only Mark. The day finally came and everything came down to this moment, the moment of truth. As soon as we walked into the house, Brian asked, What is he doing here? We both stayed silent, not knowing what to say. Oh, I invited him, Mom says, covering for us. Why don't we have a nice and calm dinner, Dad looks concerned when he says that. He knows about Brain's anger issue. Paul and my dad talk for a while, making sure he feels comfortable, and I help Mom set the table. Brain is drinking. Paul came up to me and whispered in my ear with a cute expression. Please get me out of it. We just got here, I reassured him with a smile. But before we could relax, Brain walked in and gestured between us, clearly puzzled. We exchanged worried glances. What? I asked innocently. This. God, are you two dating? Brain exclaimed, frustration clear in his voice. He finished his beer and angrily threw the glass, shattering it all over the floor. Mom and Dad rushed out of the kitchen, their expressions filled with concern. Brain, calm down. We're not dating, I tried to assure him. It wasn't entirely untrue, just a half-truth. Really? You want me to believe this shit? Brain shouted. Paul attempted to defuse the situation, saying, Look, he's right, we're not. But Brain pointed at him and interrupted. You, for the love of God, stop talking. Brain seemed on the verge of a breakdown, muttering, I knew this was going to happen. It always does. You always win. I was utterly confused. What are you talking about? You always do this. Take the things I love. Brain's voice trembled with frustration and sadness. You have no idea how my life has changed because of you. I used to have these amazing birthday parties, but then you came in. And I remember your party was filled with love and so many people. But then it comes to me. Nothing happens. I always love surprise parties. But you are the only one to get that. It's not just about that. It's about everything. I wanted what you had. That's why I decided to ask him out. Brian pointed at Paul. What? Paul asked, clearly as surprised as the rest of us. I had no idea that Brian had been hurting because of me. I knew that Mark had a huge crush on you. and he was thinking about asking you out. So I came in between and asked you out first, Brian continued. So all of this was just fake? Mark demanded an answer, while I struggled to process everything Brain was revealing. How in the world did he know I had a crush on Mark? That's what I thought, but after getting to know you, I started to fall for you, Brain confessed, his voice heavy with guilt. But then I realized that this relationship was wrong in so many ways, which is why I started distancing myself, hoping you would break up with me. But you kept trying, and I felt guilty, so I had to stop before it was too late. And Brain paused, his voice filled with unresolved emotions. I had no idea that you felt this way. I tried to explain myself. Yeah, you are the sunshine of the house, he murmurs. That's not true, son, Dad finally speaks of. Yeah, we love you the same, but we are sorry if you ever felt lonely about all this. We should have been more aware of whether you guys liked it or not, Mom explained, her voice filled with regret. She's right, Dad chimed in. If we had any idea that you felt this way, we wouldn't have done this. We're truly sorry if you ever felt that way. Mom went ahead and gave Brian a warm hug, and soon Dad and I joined in too. It was a heartfelt moment of reconciliation and understanding. Afterwards, we had a very nice dinner together, and we all laughed throughout the evening, enjoying each other's company and putting aside any past misunderstandings. After dinner, I find myself looking at the most handsome man I have ever seen when Brain approaches me. You really can't hide it, can you? He teases me in a loving tone. You really love him, do you? He asks. Yes, I finally say. We just wanted to know if you are... You don't need my permission to date him, he interrupts and says. I thank him for what he said. We all went home happy and Brain decided to stay behind to give himself a break and some space. From that day on, Paul and I started dating, and it marked the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Brain and Paul managed to rebuild their friendship, leaving all the past clashes behind. Conclusion. In the end, we chose love over deception and jealousy. Despite the family's turmoil, we found solace in each other's arms, and our bond grew stronger. We embarked on a new chapter in our lives, ready to face the future together with honesty and trust, knowing that love had conquered all. The end. What do you think about Brain's behavior towards Mark? Do you think Paul made the right choice? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.